We all need something to believe in, right? Faith, belief, God is the basic essence of us human beings. Why? Because it fills our need for finding meaning and sparing us, from the existential anger or angst. So believing in a power, a faith, a religion, God, universe, or even those who choose to believe in none of these things, who say that we are an atheist. This is all an effort of an individual human being to find some sort of a resonance, having a faith, whatever it may be, or not having a faith. It's basically a human being's effort towards finding meaning or giving meaning to their life, and using that meaning, how do they navigate their life on a day-to-day basis. The creation of faith, religion, or any other practice has actually survived more than 10,000 years on this planet. Can you beat that? Why do you think this is? It is due to a human's tendencies to seek order from chaos, anthropomorphize or humanize the environment around us, so that we feel that everything around us exists for a reason, we are here for a reason, and then the world around is actually created for our use. So amidst all of these religions, faiths, practices, and the rituals that we do for each of these individual religions or practices, what is the one key thing that we are all missing? That thing is oneness. Oneness with God, becoming one with God, becoming the God. Hear me out. Remember the old saying that says that there is a God in each one of us? In Buddhism, they say that there is a Buddha in each one of us. In Hinduism, we say, Hum mein Ram, Tum mein Ram, Sab mein Ram. In Islam, they say that Allah lives in the heart of the believer. So now, how do we go expressing this devotion of ours to our gods, to our religion? What is it that we could be potentially doing wrong in the way we express our devotion, or is there something that we can do better? So if you're looking at religions, and I'm only going to be picking up a handful of religions for this video. In Islam, there is Allah. In Hinduism, we have 33 million gods. In Sikhism, there is the teachings of Guru Nanak and his successors. In Jainism, they believe in the power of divine. In Buddhism, they believe in the teachings of Lord Buddha. In Jai Bhim, they believe in the teachings of Dr. Ambedkar. And if you look at each of these religions or practices, like Buddhism is a practice, Sikhism is a practice, and if you look at religions like Islam, Hinduism, or if you look at practices like Buddhism and Sikhism, technically all of the religions are actually practices. But again, because of a lot of political nature to how a religion is perceived, the colonization by the British in India, the practices have somehow found a very cult way of coming together into becoming religion. But that is not what the video is going to be about. This video is strictly going to refer to all faith as practices. So if you look at any practice, they all carry specific writings. They all carry a lot of literature on them. They all carry teachings from a certain saint or a certain power that we believe is to be the divine power. There are stories, there are books, so that we can truly understand the essence of the teachings of the faith and then bring them into our daily practice. When we bring the teachings into our daily practice, the teachings of our gods, our saints, then what tends to happen is we become one with the God. Right now, if you look at what we are truly doing with our practices, what we are doing is actually a transaction with the higher powers or the God. We do pujas, we do donations in temple, dargah. We spend money on samagri and flowers, and then ultimately dispose of the same samagri or the flowers in water bodies without caring even a little bit about the change in climate and how this has a larger impact. हम कोएग्जिस्ट करके सर्वाइव करेंगे तभी तो हम अपनी पूजा और अपना फेथ भी कंटिन्यू रख पाएंगे ना. I don't want to say that visits to temples or pujas are not important. Why are certain tools a supported action, like a puja, visiting a holy place, which in turn helps in showcasing our devotion for these higher powers? What I do want to say is that technically we think that this is the only and the entirety of what puja or faith is supposed to mean. So we channelize maximum of the times 100% of our efforts into puja samagri, giving chanda at temples, and just doing all the ritualistic aspects which a religion or a practice expects us. Instead, all these things are just tools, and their usage should only be to a 10% to a 20%. And what truly is the right way of connecting with the divine or the faith is either prayers or chants, and just embodying the teachings to become that person, to become one with God. I'll tell you an interesting story. There was once a lady who very nonchalantly just kept saying Shiva Shiva under her breath. So she was in a habit of chanting Shiva Shiva. Some days Om Namah Shivaya, some days just Shiva Shiva. She was also a very staunch believer in Lord Shiva, which means that she would never question him. She never questioned him even when her son died. Instead, she just continued with her chant, and whenever something would happen, she would just continue saying Shiva. What chanting this and not having a very strong reaction to the most unhappy phases of her life did was, first, it helped in accumulating a lot of her good karma, and it helped in letting go of a lot of her bad karma in that lifetime. And then this story actually teaches us that what truly is faith, what truly is embodying the essence or the teachings of a particular God, practice, or religion. That even in the most darkest moments, when a lady loses out her young son, it is a very dark phase for any mother. She still did not question her God. Instead, she kept continuing with the chants, and she simply observed what happened in her life and chose to accept, grieve, and move on. So today's video actually talks about that what truly is faith or puja. Realistically speaking, it isn't simply about दरगाह पर चादर चढ़ाना या मंदिर में चढ़ावा चढ़ाना या सिर्फ भजन और गुरबानी सुनते रहना. It is definitely a lot more bigger and more than that. You could be using all of these tools that support your faith or that showcase your devotion to your higher powers. But if you're a wild, vicious, jealous person, if you're somebody who cannot be happy in the happiness of other people, if you are someone who goes out of your way to create problems for others, if you're not a good neighbor, if you're not a good friend, if you're not a good life partner, if you're not a good daughter or son, or if you're not a good parent, if you have a mean manner of speaking, then let me break the news to you. I don't think you are practicing your faith as well you think you are. And while the examples I gave sound very extreme, and usually people who watch content like this tend to believe that no, we are better people or we are trying to become better people. But I want you to sit with yourself and check with yourself where it is that you truly feel you lack as a kind, compassionate and loving person who is truly ready to move ahead with the changing times. Whatever faith, belief you have, even if you have resonance with a particular God, it is important that you read about them. There is a lot of literature available on each religion, each faith, whatever it is that we want to practice in our life. And read the literature. The literature carries the teachings, carries the stories, carries the journey of each of these divine powers, gods, saints. And when you read these teachings, you take time to reflect and absorb them. And with time, when you keep on absorbing these teachings, you start embodying these teachings. And then you become in oneness with the God, the particular figure that you're devoted to, or the practice that you're devoted to in your life. And this is the only definition of faith and puja. Rest everything that you do at a dargah, at a temple, at any other holy place, those are just supporting tools. But 90% of your work is actually to be this. Now first, what is the meaning of embodying? It is simply giving a tangible form to anything that is a feeling, an idea, or a quality. If you'll actually see a lot of practices like the Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, they all lay a very heavy emphasis on reading. Why do you think reading and why do you think these literatures are created? It's very simple. Something happened years and years ago. And the original, the OG people who actually brought in these practices or brought in these particular lifestyles of living or thought processes and how a human mind is supposed to carry themselves, they are there no more, correct? Instead, what is there is a lot of people who seem to be thinking that we are carrying forward the same teachings and legacies. but things do get lost in translation. So when you go back and read the original scriptures, the original teachings, journeys of these figures or divine powers, what you're doing is you're quintessentially getting in touch with the original creator of the faith. In Hinduism, there's Vedas, there's Upanishads, there is Bhagavad Gita, there is Ramayana, then there is Shiv Puran, Vishnu Puran. If you're a follower of Nichiren Daishonen's Buddhism, then there are multiple books that you can buy from Eternal Ganges, which are going to be teaching you about how to discover and find the Buddha within you. If you follow Islam, maybe it is a good time to go back and read up the Quran. This is all literature, simply talking about the teachings of these gods or figures from the ancient time whom we perceive divine. The literature on these individual practices and faiths, although may seem a little daunting to read, may not be very easy to comprehend and grasp, but it carries a lot of information on your day-to-day living life. It clarifies your perspective on your day-to-day living life, your values. If you absorb it truly, it can help you in also understanding how to navigate through tougher situations in your life. Because none of the literature talks about that the problems will not come. So in fact, when some priest actually tells you that do a particular puja so that things get better, it may not always be effective 100%. And why is that? Because none of the gods are teaching that there would be no problems in life or that life is supposed to be this eternal state of bliss. No. In fact, every faith says that life happens in an ebb and flow. Problems come and problems go. How you deal with the problems, how you look at your problems is a true testament of your faith to your God. So while during tough times you may spend a lot on pujas and whatnot, it should always be just the 10% of your entirety of understanding your definition of faith and your connection with your God. The rest 90% is all about embodying the true characteristics, traits, teachings and preachings from these divine powers and bringing them into your daily life. I'll give few examples. Suppose if you believe in Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva always talks about that do not keep an ego, but at the same time don't take anybody's ego. Lord Shiva is also known as Adi Yogi because he laid a very important emphasis on connecting with your inner self. Hence, meditating is something that Lord Shiva strongly believed in. Now, as a follower of Lord Shiva, you should be taking out some time in your day-to-day daily life for practicing meditation or simply to connect with your inner self. Shiva spoke about the value of Nama or Naman Karna, which basically means that fill your life with gratitude. Shiva also lays emphasis on the intellect of nature that truly connect with all forms and aspects of nature. So if you are a believer of a particular deity, god, saint, then it is important that you read on their thoughts, their lives, how they conducted their own selves and try embody that in your life. Those who believe in Lord Ram should focus on dharma and choices. He left his pati dharma when he left Sita and chose the Rajya dharma, which is that he had to choose his praja or his kingdom over his wife. But that is a choice that he made and he lived with, which means that he was also ready to bear the implications or face the music of this choice. So Ram essentially teaches you about choices or about dharma in your life. That whatever dharma you choose and whatever dharma you choose to let go, it all of course will have an effect on your life. But because you have made a conscious choice, a responsible choice, you are more likely to be prepared for any sort of music that may come your way. If there's anything about a faith that you practice or a deity or a god that you follow and you would like me to know about it, please do leave that in the comments. Now the first part that we have understood is truly embodying the god, the deity or the powers that we believe in. Now what is the second part to this? The second part is keeping utmost faith. Once you have actually decided that okay, this is a particular deity or a god that I resonate with, and yes, I am in the process of embodying their traits, their teachings in my day-to-day life, then the second thing is to keep faith, which is also patience. Faith is what? Faith is simply understanding that now this resonance that you have built and this absorption of these teachings that you are doing and how you're embodying a particular characteristic to yourself, it will start showing the results that you desire in the right time. Hence, keeping your learnings from the literature going on parallelly is very important. And at the same time, when you keep faith, you simply now are more aware in regards to that how your actions have a certain consequence, how your choices yield to certain other choices or certain decisions or certain ultimatums in your life. And now, with all of this to come together and for all of this to make sense, the least that you can simply do is to carry forward on that path with faith, faith in yourself as well, knowing that now since you are embodying these traits and God is residing in you, you are simply choosing to trust your path and know that it will lead you to the right path. So this is where I'll end the video. Just know this, that next time you think of puja or you think of how do I showcase my devotion to the divine or the God that I believe in, any sort of rituals or any sort of process like puja is simply a 10% of your faith, and the rest 90% is first simply embodying the traits and teachings of the divine that you believe in. It is about faith and just keeping the faith strong and going. And it is about simply folding your hands in prayer and asking to be connected to the divine source. Let's just keep it very simple. Bye.